And Mario Odyssey, that one I'm probably even more inclined to do just because it's a little shorter. And the speedrun history is not that long, but I know there's been, I mean, how many records have there been in like
Oh,
any
quite a
percent
lot.
for Mario Odyssey, right? Like,
Definitely a lot, yeah. But yeah.
so if I was to make a Mario Odyssey video, what do you think I should do?
Hello everyone, welcome back to Speed Talk. I'm Zack27 as always, and today I'm joined by a very special guest. I have Summoning Salt with me. Summoning Salt, how are you doing today?
Doing well, thanks for having me. I'm sorry this took so long to get scheduled, but we are finally doing this, and
Oh
happy to
yeah.
be here.
No, you're good. It's been a long time coming. I'm definitely just happy to have you on. And yeah, so today we'll just talk a bit about the history of your channel, some more of the recent stuff, what goes on behind the scenes, your own experience with speedrunning, all that sort of stuff. I have seen you on a couple of other speedrunning podcasts before, so I tried to come up with some unique questions. But yeah, we'll just get into it, I guess. Um, so yeah, when it comes to your channel, um, like how did SummoningSalt begin, I guess? What got you into speedrunning and ultimately bring you to where you are today?
I first got into speedrunning, AGDQ 2014, and all I was really doing at that point was I was watching other people speedrun, and I started to learn how to speedrun Super Mario Bros. Just the regular any percent run. And I learned that. I had fun with it. I was like, man, I can speedrun too. This isn't just something that I see these crazy people do at GDQ. I can actually do it myself. So I did a little bit of that, and then what I really fell in love with speedrunning was when I started learning to do Mike Tyson's Punch Out, and that was a year later in 2015. And Sinister One, he made some tutorials for how to do it, and I learned from that. I learned from watching him and doing it myself. And 2015 is kind of when I started. I made a Twitch account called SummoningSalt, and I made a YouTube account where I started posting videos of my Punch Out speedruns. And if you go back and look at my channel, the earliest videos on my channel are just Punch Out speedruns because that's all I was really doing back then was watching people speedrun and then doing Punch Out runs myself. And I amassed an audience of approximately 50 to 100 YouTube subscribers from just posting my Punch Out speedruns, which honestly, I don't even know if I would be able to do that today from just posting runs because back then I was like the only person doing Punch Out speedruns, just about one of maybe two or three people. And now there's a lot of us and it's less new and unique. But that's what I did for a whole year was just doing Punch Out runs, and I would stream them on Twitch and I'd post them on YouTube when I did them. And then making the record history videos that came in early 2017 when I watched, speaking of Sinister One, another video that he made where he went over I think he called it the strategy evolution in a fighter in Mike Tyson's Punch Out. And it was like an hour and a half long live stream recording where he showed a bunch of videos and he talked about how the people set the records on these different fights and how the different strategies they used. And basically I had the big brain idea of condensing that down into like a 15-minute edited video, and I was the first person to do that on YouTube. No one else had ever thought. There had been record history type things, but they were all live streams and they were all just watching past runs and talking about them. There was nothing like edited down and condensed. So once I started doing that, people realized like this is actually a pretty good idea, and that's really what caused my channel to grow. Was I made a couple of those videos and people really liked the idea, and I was not good at making videos back then, but I had a really good idea, and that's how it all started.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. Like, that must have been like 2015, 2016, something like that then.
It was 2017 when I did the
2017,
first
okay.
like edited video. Yeah.
Yeah. So almost 10 years now. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, six
Um,
months it'll be 10 years since my first record history video, which is like
wow.
it's hard to believe, put it that way.
Yeah, That'd be crazy how much it's blown up to in that span. When it comes to the channel, was there like a certain video that kind of skyrocketed and then you started seeing more success from there, or was it more of just like a gradual over time type of thing?
Yeah, so the first one I did was just for Mike Tyson, the last character in Punch Out. It was the Mike Tyson record history video. And at that time, I had about 500 subscribers because one of my Punch Out speedruns blew up 6 months earlier and went viral. So I had a few hundred subscribers. It didn't feel like I was a YouTuber yet. It was just felt like, yeah, cool. People like the Punch Out runs. So I did the Mike Tyson video. People told me like, wow, this is a really, really good idea and a cool video. But that first one really didn't go viral. But then I uploaded one about Super Mario Bros., which was the other game back then that I knew a lot about. And that video, I remember I uploaded it, and I think the night I uploaded it, Darbian, the speedrunner, he watched it on his stream live. So it got a little momentum from that, from, several hundred people seeing it there, and I'm sure some of them clicked on it on YouTube. And then I remember I woke up the next morning, and that video had tens of thousands of views, and my subscriber count, I had over 1,000 subscribers. Like it more than doubled overnight. And I remember that was one of the craziest mornings of my life because it was like, okay, this is a thing. Like I have made something here. Like if I keep making these, people are probably going to keep watching them. And within a few days, I hadn't even uploaded a new video, but my subscriber count, started at 500. The next day it was over 1,000. The next day it was at 2,000. The next day it was 3,000. I mean,
Wow.
it was unreal. And those numbers to me now, I mean, that's, those are a lot less than what I get now, obviously. But back then it was just completely absurd seeing that first Mario video go viral. And then it took off and kept going from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. Um, in terms of Punch Out itself, obviously that's a big, probably like the main game that you play. Um, the quest to beat Matt Turk video is obviously a pretty big one. It's kind of become like a running joke on the channel. I think you made like a joke about it in the one of the 64 videos. And now like every video, I feel like there's at least one comment on it about Matt Turk. Um, how much do you think your passion and like personal experience with Punch Out helps out with those videos? I imagine you don't have to do anywhere near as much research for them since you already have a lot of that knowledge. How much do you think
Well,
that helps?
yeah, the punch out videos themselves, I mean, most of those I've either had to do like no research for or very minimal because I already like I lived it, I knew all of it. But I would say, yeah, just the fact that I know what it takes to break a record and I know what it takes to put in all the attempts and the effort and the looking for strategies and the practicing and all that, I think that gives me a little more credibility than someone who hasn't had that experience, I guess, and just talks about other people doing it. Because, I'm not going to say that Punch Out is like the most prestigious record out there. It's not, but it's something that I've put a lot of effort into, and I think yeah, even if it's very different from a game like Spyro or Cuphead or Mario 64 or whatever, I think it's still it gives me a background and understanding like what these people went through, and it helps me talk about what they did in a more realistic sense.
Yeah. I still think I definitely find Punch Out extremely impressive in the sense that it's so, from my understanding, it's so RNG dependent. Like my main
Yep.
speed game has very little RNG, and the RNG it does have, if you mess up something in regards to it, like I'm infuriated. So I cannot imagine like having the whole run kind of dependent on RNG and like playing perfectly only to lose it at the very end to RNG. How do
It
you
was
do you
really
like
fun.
yeah.
To talk about that, it was really fun for a lot of years, but with where the record's at now and having done it for so many years, like I'm not saying I'm like retiring from Punch Out, but I would not be surprised if I'm if I never come back to do the record because that my full game record is 3 years old now, and I just do not have any interest in touching it. Even if someone like beats it, I'm like, do I really want to sit through all that RNG again? Like I've already done that so many times. Like it's not really worth the time at this point.
Yeah, it feels like it'd be very much in the game's control, and at that point, it's just so time consuming that that sounds very tedious.
Yeah, and do I
I would
want to
imagine.
spend another like 200, 300 hours or whatever it's going to take to get a new record when it's out of my control? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know.
makes sense. I touched on the researching earlier. What is kind of the researching process like for your videos? Obviously, you cover like all sorts of different communities now, in almost every new video. So I imagine you have to really ask a lot of people for help, and just really do a lot of research to like make sure you get everything right. What's kind of like the process for that when you're making a new video?
It really depends on the video because some of them, I mean, there's Punch Out, which I know like the back of my hand. And then there's games like various Mario games where it ranges from I know a bit about it to I know a lot about it. So those are a little bit easier, obviously. And then there's ones that I'd never played them before I made the video, like Spyro and Cuphead. I played those in preparation for the video because I needed to know how they worked, just so I didn't sound like a complete idiot. But yeah, for those, it's a lot of work. I mean, I have to go talk to a whole bunch of community members, obviously, and I have to, you know, put myself in the minds of those runners and understand how the run works and where the high stakes moments are and how the tricks work and do a deep dive on the history and compare every single run and see where they gained and lost time. I mean, it's a lot of work, and I think a lot of the hardest parts, like the most time consuming parts of research, where I'm like directly comparing runs and seeing where they gained and lost time, that doesn't even show up that much in the video. Like it'll be a throwaway line, something like, "Oh yeah, they lost 10 seconds in this level, but then gained it all back when they cleaned up this section in that level." And it's like people don't even pay attention to that in the video, but if I'm documenting history, I need to go over all that. So it's important that I do the research. And if it's a game I've never played before or have no background in, then it's even more important because I can't BS my way through it. I can't fake it. So yeah, it's a lot of research and a lot of talking to speedrunners.
Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't even realize that you like go through the runs themselves and like really look for that stuff. I just kind of, picture someone telling you like the exact, like pretty much everything. So that definitely sounds, I imagine it's a bit of a mix of both, but definitely sounds
It
tedious.
depends because if I'm
Yeah.
asking someone how a trick works, they can tell me. But if I'm asking someone, hey, this world record from 12 years ago, where did they gain and lose time compared to the
Oh
record
yeah.
immediately before it? You know, someone's gonna have to do that work. So
Yeah, that makes
it's
sense.
usually gonna be me.
Yeah, now you put it like that. I guess I couldn't tell you if you asked me like what like because I'm an Odyssey runner. If you asked me like what this record in 2018 looked like compared to the one before that, I would not be able to tell you. So
Yeah.
that does make sense.
Exactly. But
Um,
sometimes these guys are super excited to help. Like the Lego Star Wars people, they literally just did all that work for me. And they were so excited that I was doing a video that they just wanted to help every way they could. So that's always like really helpful when people do that, but that's not usually, how it goes.
yeah,
So
the Lego. I remember I watched the behind the scenes of that one, and that community just seems really awesome. I met a couple of them at one of the Pace events. We Super, he's really cool. But that whole community just seems really cool, and I know they have like a lot of similar stuff to the Odyssey scene with like BTT and all of that stuff. So it just seems they were really prepared, and that's definitely one of my favorite of the videos, even though I had nothing, like I knew nothing about it going into it. So that was a really cool one, um, for sure. I know. I'm just gonna kind of like go through a lot of different of your videos. In this episode. But I know one of the videos that I remember you saying you really enjoyed doing was the history of the 5-2 in SMB. I think you said it was like a really fun one to make at the time. And it was definitely a bit of a different style because it was like a little shorter and like a little bit more laid back, I'd say. Do you think you'll do more stuff like that in the future?
definitely open to it. Part of the problem with shorter videos is that they don't tend to perform as well in the long run. So I tend to these days try to make sure they're at least 30, 40 minutes long just by picking the topic that I do. But 5-2 was fun because I got to do just a super super deep dive into a level that I knew really well, And like you said, I kept it pretty lighthearted and pretty not like joking necessarily, but pretty much like I'm not taking it too seriously, and I'm putting I use the song in the Hall of the Mountain King to kind of punctuate an exciting moment, which that's something I've never done in a video before or since. But I thought, let's just try something new, let's try something fun, and that was kind of the idea with that video was let's just try something a little different from normal. Instead of doing a huge overview of a massive 15-year history, let's focus on one level and just go really deep and change the style a little bit. And yeah, I still think that's one of my most, I'd say that's one of the videos I'm like the most proud of now because I think it stands out a little bit on my channel, even if it's not, I don't think it's typically cited as people's like one of their favorites of mine, but I think it's just a personal favorite.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think did that take like a lot shorter too to make because of the length, or was it like I don't really remember what the distance from that to the video before that was.
Yeah, let me check real quick. I have a document where I track all that stuff. So the 5.2 video, why is this not showing? That's weird. It looks like, yeah, it was, I made that video in about 3 weeks.
Oh wow,
Typically, I mean,
yeah.
I have videos that take over 3 months to make, like Spyro. So yeah, 3 weeks is that's obviously a pretty compacted time, but it's because it was a short level and I was focused on one level in a short video and I just dove really deep into it. So
Yeah, that's really impressive to do all that in just a few weeks as well. Another video I really liked, which I'm sure you've been asked about this one, was the 120 star early era video last year. I think it was last year, it might have been the year before. Um, Obviously, that's a part one video. I know that you were talking for a while about doing like a multi-part 120 star type of video. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool that he's doing it. What was the thought process behind doing a multi-part video, and is it something that you plan on continuing that story in the future? And yeah,
so yeah, the thought process was just I want to do something exciting. I mean, 120 star has pretty much biggest the biggest record history of any game out there, and it's the most prestigious speedrun record you could hold, arguably. It has a massive history. And unless I was making a 3 hour video, there's no way I could do it justice in one video, I don't think. There's just, the run's too deep and the record history is too deep. So I figured why not try something new and try doing a multi part thing. And my plan at the time was I'm going to upload part one and then part two and then part three back to back to back, like a month apart. So what I did was I did the research for the entire history from 2004 through 2025. I did all the research ahead of time and I have it all in a, I don't know, like 60-page Google document somewhere, in the cloud. And I made part one. I edited the whole thing and uploaded it. And it didn't do like badly, but it didn't do well. I think it was like YouTube, they rank your last 10 uploads.
yeah,
I think it was like a 9 or a 10 out of 10. It was definitely toward the bottom, which that's okay. It's not like I'm really upset about that or anything, but I started thinking, is it really the wisest move to upload that and then immediately upload part two and then immediately upload part three? Because there's also a lot of people on my channel who are tired of Mario videos. And on that video, there were a lot of comments from people being like, oh, another Mario 64 video. You've already covered this. And I think maybe they watched part one, but if I then immediately uploaded part two and part three, there's no way they'd stick around to watch
yeah,
those. So I decided it was probably best to wait, and I've kind of just been waiting since then. My whole channel, again, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining about views because obviously my videos do well, but the views they've gone down about 10 to 15% over the last year. So in an effort to stop that from happening, I'm trying to change up my content a little bit, and I want to do part two to the 120 star video, but I'm waiting for like a couple videos with really strong performance first because I know that part two is probably not going to do that well. So if I preface it, well, I guess I don't know that it's not going to do that well, but I'm, what's the right way to
I
put
mean,
it? Part
I
one,
can see where you're coming from definitely, because like anytime you have a part one and a part two and stuff, I feel like part one's usually going to be the better performer anyway, because most people aren't going to, watch like the second part of something if they haven't seen the first part of something a lot of the time. So I can definitely see
Well,
the
yeah.
skepticism with that at least.
I wouldn't title it like part one and part two though, but
Yeah.
I still think that it's more just the fact that part one was didn't do. I think Mario 64 in general, people are a little tired of. So if I did another one, but it could also crush. Like I don't know, it could do really well. So I've just been waiting for like a couple strong performers in a row before I go back and do part two. But I do intend to do part two, and I intend to do part three. I don't know when it's gonna be, but I've literally already done like half the work for those videos. I've done all the research, so I'm ready to. I could probably edit those in like a month, each part in a month, and upload. So we'll see. But I'd like to. I want to get to them. So
Yeah. That's definitely good that you're still making them, because definitely I'm sure that's exciting for a lot of people. The seeing the future parts, the cliffhanger at the end of the first one was really good as well. So yeah, I'm excited for that. Um, my favorite video of yours is actually the last one you did, which is the Mario Maker one. That was pretty much the first game that I've put like over 1,000 hours into as a kid, and it kind of led me to where I am today with speedrunning. So I was very excited when I saw that. And I'm curious what was like the making of that. I know that you're trying to do more like interviews and like not like talk over the entire video. Was that kind of like your first step into that? And just how was working with the SMM community?
yeah, first off, the Mario Maker community, they're fantastic. They were really really helpful. I only positive things to say about them. They were great. They were very excited to see the video come together, and they were excited to see the way I told the story. And I appreciate that they're willing to help me, even though there had already been multiple other videos on very similar topics to what I covered. I think the scope was a little different in mine, but it's the same idea, right? It's all about finishing Mario Maker. So I appreciate everything they did to help me. That video, I, for the first time, implemented interviews, kind of like we're doing right now, but cut up and put through the whole video. Not just like I had done brief segments of a video having interviews before, but never through the whole thing. And the idea behind that was that I think when you're a YouTuber, you want to evolve your content, but also not just alienate your audience. Because I think a common problem YouTubers run into is they change their content. And like if you watch an Angry Video Game Nerd video from 2025 versus an Angry Video Game Nerd video from 2007, it's like night and day difference, radically different. And the problem I was running into was kind of the exact opposite, where people were telling me my videos were really stale and they all feel the same. And that's like, that's a fair criticism. They all have a similar structure because they're all about a speedrunning history, and the content in each video is quite different. But I get that if you're watching a bunch of them, especially back to back, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of similarities. So the interviews are an attempt to change that and make them feel like different videos, not just because my old videos didn't have interviews, but because there are different people telling the story every single time. So hopefully it won't become stale. You're going to get different perspectives in every video. People have different ways of talking and different ways of telling the story. That's what I'm going for with these interviews. And I'm really, really happy with how it turned out for Mario Maker. And my plan is to just keep doing it going forward.
Yeah, I think it turned out great, and it was also really cool just as someone who like kind of watches the Mario Maker community, just seeing like those familiar faces like popping up. I thought it was cool, and that was also probably one of my favorite parts of like the videos from a couple years ago. I think the Mega Man one, I think Lego Star Wars had a couple interviews, if I'm not mistaken, at some point in that video.
Yeah, I
Um,
did it, I think 4 videos in a row. I did it Mega Man, Lego Star Wars, Mario 3, and then Halo. And then
okay, yeah.
I I kind of got tired of doing them, and I thought they weren't adding much. But now I'm doing them differently. So
Yeah, I think they work like a lot better with this system. So I definitely liked it in Mario Maker. And do you think you'll do it like in a similar style where it's like, because I remember in I think you tweeted about it or something, where like when you posted that, like I envisioned like it was just gonna be like no like script or like overview. So I was like curious what that would look like. But is it gonna be more of like a half and half type of thing, kind of like what you did with Mario Maker with like interviews, but you're also doing voiceover for a lot of it? Or do you think you want to like transition into more interviews?
It's all a balancing act on YouTube. Like I think that
Yeah.
if I did only interviews and I did no narration, like I'm tempted to try that because I think I can make a really cool video doing that. But also there'd be a lot of people who'd be like, what is this? This is not Summoning Salt. This is something totally different and probably wouldn't care to watch. So I'll be honest, I was really tempted to try that with Mario Maker because even though a lot of people were telling me to not do it, I there was part of me who was like, I want to prove you wrong. I want to show you I can do this and it'll be really good. But in the end, I decided probably the smarter and safer move is to just do a hybrid style. I mean, I can narrate part of it, and we can have Mario Maker community narrate part of it, and kind of intersperse them together. And I think that's a good kind of a good medium where I'm evolving the content but not radically changing it or anything.
Yeah, that makes sense. One thing with the Team 0% story, and this was also, I guess, the case with the Tetris video, which is also probably like my other favorite video, is they're not really your traditional speedrunning stories, I guess, where like it's not like, trying to beat a game as fast as possible. Um, do the like, were you conscious of that when making them, and is it something like that you're kind of open to as like more like I guess challenge type of history videos or just like low percent other sort of stuff that's not necessarily speedrunning but like speedrun adjacent?
I'm definitely open to it. And I'll tell you, I won't reveal exactly what it is, but I am working on a video right now that is not, I'll just say not a standard speedrun history video, but still in that same competitive gaming style. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in it.
Nice. That's cool to hear. Those because both of those are like yeah, like I said, probably two of my favorites. So I also think it mixes it up quite a bit because like with speedrunning, like and maybe this is another reason why like people would comment that it gets stale. Like it's not really your fault. That's just kind of inherent in speedrunning. Like even though every community is different and every story is different, like at the end of the day it is like you're trying to break a record and then the next person's gonna break a record. Like it is a little bit easy to see. So like when it's a different type of story like that, I think it adds a lot of layers to it, I think. It makes it a little more interesting a lot of times. So it's been cool to see.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Um,
It's good when it's not the same formula every time.
yeah. Last year you obviously had a very historic moment in your channel with the face reveal. I think that happened like shortly before I asked you to be on. Um, which funnily enough, it happened in like a little advertisement for your merch at the beginning of the video. Um, Yep, with the
Right up
VHS, we'll
there.
definitely, yep, we'll definitely talk about that in a second. Obviously, you didn't need to face reveal to advertise them necessarily. What kind of led you to decide that was the right time to face reveal and to do it in such a casual way?
Yeah, I guess I first started having a presence online, like doing speedruns and stuff, I was in high school. And nowadays, there are a lot of people, high school age and younger, who speedrun. But when I started, you know, 12 years ago, like that, no, that wasn't the thing. Speedrunners were almost exclusively adults, oftentimes 30 and up, and I was the odd one out, being in high school. So at that point, it was like my reason for not face revealing was I don't want people to know that I'm in high school. I don't want people to know that I'm not an adult. Then I started doing YouTube and, became an adult. And then the reason kind of changed to like, well, I kind of like having the privacy and the anonymity of not having my face out there. I feel like that's kind of an advantage because once it's out there, you can't undo it. So I want to be sure. And then as I kept growing and growing, years go by and I'm kind of come to realize like I'm missing some opportunities here because I can't go to events if I'm not face revealing. I have to, whenever I meet with people, I have to be like, okay, don't post my picture anywhere or anything. And it just felt kind of dumb. And eventually I just kind of came to realize, like, I don't know why I'm hiding my face. There's not actually a reason anymore. I'm not really afraid to face reveal, and it's not that I'm in high school anymore, and I don't really care that like, oh, I'm a YouTuber, I need to protect my anonymity that much, to that extent at least. So I decided I wanted to probably reveal it somehow eventually. And when we started doing the merchandise promotion, I figured, well, that's probably a good time to do it because people are already going to be talking. It's not going to be, it's not a dream level face reveal where the whole internet's talking about it, but it's in a small corner of the internet. It will be some sort of news at least. So why don't I tie that directly to the merchandise? Maybe that'll help sell it. So that was kind of the idea behind doing it with that.
That makes sense. I feel like that definitely works too, because like it would be weird just seeing like, your typical face reveal video as it's like its own thing on your channel next to like two speedrun history videos. So I definitely think that works out. Um, and then in regards to the VHS tapes, obviously that's very different type of merchandise than I've seen from like any other YouTuber. What was the idea for that, and what's kind of been the process with producing them and selling them?
So I'm a big physical media guy. Like I have DVD collection. I don't have that many Blu-rays, but I have a few, and then I have VHS tapes, and I just think VHS is really cool. That's kind of what it boils down to. It reminds me of my childhood, and it reminds me of video stores, and it reminds me of, I mean, there's something fun about putting a tape in the VCR and having the fuzzy quality. It's not like awful quality, but it's a little fuzzy, and it's kind of like a warm, happy feeling. And so I've always loved VHS. I've I've actually literally recorded. Here, give me 1 second. I'll show
Okay.
you. So when I started doing Punch Out speedruns, I recorded them onto VHS
Oh
tapes,
wow,
and this is the
that's cool.
first record I ever set in Punch Out. You can read the date on there.
Yeah, 2016 March.
So yeah, I've been into tapes for a long time. And I think part of that too is just that the CRT TV that I have has a VCR built into it. So I thought that would be a fun way to record my speedruns. So the idea to do my videos on there was just I always thought it'd be the coolest thing to be able to put a physical DVD or VHS or whatever of stuff that I make. I mean, I love collecting DVDs or tapes of my favorite TV shows and movies. And like, what cooler thing to do than have that for your own stuff, the thing that you created? So that was kind of the idea. And I thought the reason I did VHS instead of DVD was just I thought it was cooler and more unique. I thought it was a lot more interesting than the typical, hey, you can buy my videos on DVD, which that's cool too. But I just, I think VHS is cooler. You can make it a little more customizable. They're obviously a little more collectible. You can do different colors on the tape. You can display them
Yeah.
on a shelf. You can not open them if you don't want to open them, or you can watch them. Just make sure it doesn't fall. So that's what we did for these first two tapes, and then for this most recent one, we just did one again for my Cuphead video, and we decided to also do DVD for those because a lot of people have asked for it, and we realized there's probably not a reason to not do DVD too. I don't think it would hurt sales or anything, and that enough people want it, let's just do it. And what's funny is that despite doing DVD as well for Cuphead, the VHS tapes massively outsold
Oh
the
wow.
DVDs. So yeah, it's just I think I've kind of conditioned my audience to that at this point.
I think that's just such a cool like unique way to do merch. Like it's definitely like a lot cooler than like anything I've seen from other YouTubers because it's like really tied to what you're interested in. So I think that's definitely cool. Like obviously it has definitely has like its own audience. Um, but like I don't know, it's a very unique type of thing and I think it's really cool for sure. And like yeah. And so you've done that with Halo, Cuphead and Mega Man, I think.
Yeah, the first one was Halo, and then we did Cuphead, and then I don't have it on the shelf right now, but Cuphead is the third one, and
Okay.
we're trying to come up with ways to keep them new and interesting because we think like okay, by the time we get to like the sixth one,
Yeah.
are people going to keep collecting the whole thing? I hope so. I think there's some people that would, but I don't know if it's going to have the same appeal. So we're trying to come up with new ideas. One thing we're thinking about doing is creating Well, maybe I shouldn't reveal this yet. I'll tell you later when we're done. I don't want to reveal my secrets here. But the point is, we're trying to
Okay.
like include things with this to make it a little more interesting, so it's not just the tape. So we did the DVD for this last one in a signed bundle, and we're looking into doing some other things to include with them to make them new and exciting, I guess.
Like some bonus like features type of thing with the DVD, something like that.
Bonus features and ways to include members of the community and have I, I guess a
Yeah,
simple way of putting it is having people in the videos signing either the tape or something. Like if I make a video about Mega Man, having Cypher and Cool Kid having their signatures be incorporated somehow.
that'd be
We're
cool.
looking into things like that.
That'd be very cool, yeah. Didn't you do that for I think Cuphead? Like you signed some of them for like a certain type of color?
Yeah, we have a bundle where if you buy both the tape and the
Oh yeah,
DVD, then I'm signing the tape,
that's cool. That's
which
very cool.
I have not signed them yet because we haven't made all of them yet, but
Mm.
hours of signing to do, which I'm really grateful. It's really nice that everyone purchased that many, but
That's cool
yeah,
though.
I haven't
Like,
done anything like
yeah.
that before. So
Yeah, no, that's definitely pretty cool. Um, anyway, in the past, I know you've talked about redoing like some of your older videos, on the channel. Um, I guess technically you did start doing that with like 120 star at least. Is that still something that you plan on doing in the future for other videos?
it is. I'm kind of being selective in the ones that I choose to redo. 120 star is a pretty obvious pick because it wasn't my first one from 2017. Just was not a good video. Mario 1 any percent. Obviously, that one I'm gonna have to do at some point, but at this point, it's like I'm probably just gonna wait for the task tie. I did it for Mike Tyson. I did that for the. I didn't quite cover all the same history, but there was a lot of overlap for the the Tyson video. So yeah, I plan to do it going forward when it makes sense. But I also, again, that's one of the feedbacks of my channel that people give me is they want to see new games, new content, and not just rehashing the old stuff. So I'm gonna be pretty selective with what I choose to redo. But it's in the cards for sure.
Nice. Another thing that I thought was cool, which I don't know like to what extent you were involved with it, and not many people talk about it, was the speedrunning documentary that you narrated a few years ago, the Running with Speed. Um, I definitely think a lot of people don't even know that exists. But I remember I got that on YouTube, and some of my friends did a watch party with me when that came out, and I thought that was really cool. What was the process like working on that and narrating it?
Yeah, so they reached out to me. This would have been like early 2019 or late 2018. I mean, this was
Oh
like
wow.
many years ago now. And they said that they were making a documentary about speedrunning and wanted to know if I wanted to be included, if they could come out and film me. And at that point, this was years before I did a face reveal, so I said, "Yeah, I'm open to it, but I just want to make sure that, you either blur out my face or just don't include it because I haven't done like a face reveal yet." So they at that point they were filming a whole bunch of different speedrunners for the documentary, and they went to like a speedrunning event down in I think Santa Barbara. I think it was somewhere in Southern California, and I was going to college in California at the time, so they drove to come see me and filmed me for it was like it's funny because I'm in the documentary for like 2 minutes or something in terms of like me physically being there. But man, they filmed me for like 5 or 6 hours. It was pretty
Wow.
crazy. Went late into the night. It's fun seeing how much unused content there is in documentaries. Like you wouldn't even realize it unless you were involved somehow. It's pretty nuts. But yeah, and then after they filmed me, we kept in touch and they ran some ideas past me, and eventually we got to them asking me if I wanted to be the narrator because a lot of people in speedrunning are familiar with my voice, and I don't think they wanted to spend all the money it would cost to hire a professional narrator, and I was willing to do it. They paid me still, but like I'm a YouTuber. You don't have to go sign Morgan Freeman to go narrate the thing, you know. So I
Yeah.
think they were happy to go with me, and I was really happy to do it because it was exciting and it was new, and I'd never done anything like it before. So they would show me drafts of the script and ask me what I thought of it, and I would give them some feedback in terms of information, that sort of thing. And then I spent, I mean, hours and hours recording lines for that whole documentary, and the whole thing took years. I mean, I was recording lines 2020, 2021, and 2022 all throughout there. I
Wow.
was recording lines from time to time. They'd send me stuff to record, and they eventually released it, and it's I think it's free to watch on YouTube now. I know it was initially I think they were hoping to get like a big Netflix deal where it was like a
Oh, really?
premiere, like a featured show or documentary, but they ended up getting a more standard release like on Amazon, and eventually I believe it became free to watch on YouTube.
Yeah, that's cool. And yeah, I would definitely recommend that. I think it's to anyone who hasn't seen it. I think it's really cool just like to show people who aren't into speedrunning or don't know anything about speedrunning. Like it definitely does a good job of like showing what speedrunning is to like the average person who might not know much about it. Um, so I think it works really well, like as a means of that. Um, but yeah, when it comes to the videos, and I'm sure this is a question you're asked a lot, how do you kind of decide what to cover next? I'm assuming you have some sort of list somewhere of ideas for future videos. Are there any games you've ruled out completely of covering? What's kind of the creative process and how in touch do you need to really be with like the community of speedrunning as a whole to like find the best stories that you want to cover?
Yeah, it's a mix of balancing the games I'm interested in with the games that I think my audience would want to cover. So, one of the biggest requests I've gotten is Minecraft. And I personally, I'm one of the few people on Earth, it seems, that has zero interest in Minecraft. I've played it for probably like 5 or 6 hours ever, and it's fine, but I don't
I'm on
get
the
the
same
hype. I
boat.
don't get the obsession.
Yeah, I've only played it for like a couple hours total too, so I completely get you there.
Yeah, and there's like so much. It's such a deep speed run. There's so much to talk about, and it's kind of over my head, and I don't have much interest in covering it. And like, let's be honest, the community, like, I'm not saying the speedrunners themselves are weird or anything, but like the community is it skews young and it skews very like dogpile on people and relentless, and
Yeah,
it's a little. I don't know how much I want to lean into that community personally. So yeah, it's balancing, topics like that with I would love to make yet another Mike Tyson's Punch Out video, but I'm probably not going to because I know that there's already fatigue among my audience with that. And despite, people will say like, "Oh, your Punch Out videos are the best one. You should keep making them," but they don't do that well anymore. And there are a lot of people that just want to see me do other stuff. So it's a balance, and that's why I come up with stuff like Spyro and Cuphead, which stuff that I've never covered on my channel before, but I'm open to learning more about. And it's sometimes I'll do ones like that. Sometimes I'll do Mario videos, or sometimes I'll do the Tetris video was cool. That was one that I again didn't know that much about, but it was relatively easy to learn, so it was a lot of fun.
yeah, that one was really cool too with 'cause like I was seeing stuff about that like in the news like on social media with the Blue Scooty when he finally broke Tetris or whatever. So seeing that featured in one of the videos was cool because I remember I was watching the whole Tetris video like is this story? Like I wasn't sure
Yeah.
because I wasn't familiar with it. So that was cool. Um, but yeah, that makes sense. Are there any games that you haven't covered yet that you want to cover but haven't gotten around to like making them or starting to make them?
There are. I'm not going to reveal what some of
Yeah, that
them
makes
are because
sense.
there'll probably be future videos in the next year or two. One thing I will say is that we already talked about Mario 64. I want to do 120 Star, the parts 2 and 3, which I plan to get to eventually. Super Metroid is another one that I have some interest in, but Super Metroid, it's another one of those games that's very, very, very deep, both in terms of how the run works and all the tech, and also just how long the history is. I mean, there's been many, many, many dozens of records, and they're all 40 plus minutes long, and there's a lot to talk about in a Super Metroid speedrun. And to be honest, I don't know how well it would do. I don't think Metroid is necessarily the most popular franchise, and also because it's Nintendo, I'd be a lot less inclined to put it out on tape because of how they are with copyright. I don't think I'd be able to work with them on it. So there's some games like that that I do have interest in, and I'm not ruling out covering them, but it I don't know if the balance of how much time it would take versus the reward necessarily makes sense. So it's again, it's all balancing act when you're a YouTuber.
Yeah, it makes sense. Um, I feel obligated to ask, uh, as a other 3D Mario speedrunner, but when it comes to the other 3D Mario games, because obviously you've done several videos on 64, where are your thoughts at with those?
I hate them all. No, I mean I'm open to doing like a Mario Odyssey video for sure. It's again, I've played Mario 64. The speedrun history is very deep. Probably not going to do Sunshine because average Trey, and I don't usually do this. If someone else made a video on a game, that doesn't stop me from covering it too. But I think average Trey's videos probably. I feel like people would compare the one I make to the one he did, and then because he's in the community, he made the better video. So I probably shouldn't even want to touch
Hmm.
Mario Sunshine. Mario Galaxy, I'm open to it. It's just such a long run. Same with Galaxy 2. I would It might be a tough video to make, and again, it would be a lot of work, but I'm open to it. And Mario Odyssey, that one I'm probably even more inclined to do just because it's a little shorter. And the speedrun history is not that long, but I know there's been, I mean, how many records have there been in like the in
Oh, quite a
80%
lot.
for Mario Odyssey, right? Like,
Definitely a lot, yeah. And there's been a lot of
yeah.
activity too since the Switch 2 came out with like the load times and just somewhat a lot of activity, although right now we're kind of at like a lull, I guess. Um, but yeah, it definitely
So
has
if
a history, but the story, I guess, right now isn't like, it's not like super interesting because Tyron has had record for a while. Um, but yeah.
so if I was to make a Mario Odyssey video, what do you think I should do?
Um, like what category, or because I guess any percent would be like the go-to, but I would
So
say
like a whole covering all of any percent because that seems like it would be a lot, right? Like, do you think that would be the best topic? If you think that's the best topic, then that's fine. But that's
it would
kind of what
definitely
I'm
be
getting
the
at is
most popular topic. I mean, I think like darker side could be really cool as well, but in terms of like the game itself, any percent is definitely the most, I guess, easily the most competitive. Um, but yeah, you'd have to like reach, definitely would reach out to like Tyron and some of the top runners and stuff, and then they could give you a bunch of the history. Any percent's only an hour long, and I definitely think you could condense it into like a hour video or something like that fairly easily.
well, the thing is, there's been so many records. I don't. It would be tricky. I feel like I'd be leaving a lot of stuff out. But if I zoomed in on like one part of the record history, the quest for sub hour, but I know that's already been done. Something like that, where it's just focusing on one part of any percent's history. I feel like that might be a better option, but we'll
Yeah, well,
see.
yeah, if you're gonna do that, the quest for sub hour would definitely be a good option. Um, yeah, I don't know. I would definitely ask Tyron if you were interested in making video, because he would definitely have like a very good answer probably, I'd say. Um, or a good idea maybe. But yeah, I've never really put a ton of thought into it. But it would definitely be a cool game to cover, I think, because there's a lot of stuff there to choose from. Um, but yeah. Uh, when it comes to the Switch 2, I saw you did get one last year. Um, and we're playing some of the Mario Kart World. Uh, what were your thoughts on that game and the console in general? Have you played it much since then?
Yeah, I think the game's great, and I think Nintendo's not really giving me a reason to play the console or the game more at this point. So I
That's
haven't.
fair. Yeah.
I mean, I think I've played Mario Kart World maybe twice this year, and it's for like maybe an hour, half an hour each time. The game's great. I mean, the mechanics are fantastic. The courses are really cool. they they messed up the when you play online Grand Prix, when you have to drive between the courses a lot of the time. Like they screwed that up. Like no one actually wants to do that for the races. I don't know why they were forcing that on people for so long. I think they did back off that a bit, but that definitely turned me off the game in the early days. And then there just hasn't really been much new. And not that many of my friends have bought the game. A lot of them are just going and playing Mario Kart 8 Deluxe still on the Switch One. And there's just not that many games that have come out that have interested me. There's DK Bonanza, but I didn't buy that, and I don't know if I'm planning on buying it. And still waiting for a new exciting Mario game. Still waiting for some DLC for Mario Kart World. I might be interested in that. If they ever make a new Punch Out game, I'll be all over that. But yeah, I think the Switch 2 is a nice console, and Mario Kart World is a great game. I need something else now. Like it's been a year. I'm ready for the next game, and it just hasn't come.
Yeah, I'm definitely ready for DLC for that game. Uh, Not sure where what Nintendo's doing with that.
I don't know, man. Who
But
knows what Nintendo's
it'd be
ever
cool.
doing? It's such a mystery.
But yeah, anyway, um, I just have a bit of a speed round here before you finish off. Just a few questions, didn't really know where else to throw them.
Hmm.
What would you say your favorite video is to start off of yours?
The Tetris video.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, definitely up there for me as well. And then
Do you want
what
me to
about?
expand on these, or if it's a speed
Yeah,
round, should
yeah,
I just say my
you can,
answer?
you can. Yeah,
Tetris video, it's the same as what most people say. It's just the story is really, really cool. There's a lot of tech to talk about. There's some crazy interesting moments toward the end when people are going for the game crash. Like everything that happened with Fractal and Scooty, I think is fascinating. The moment where Eric demolished the world record in a live game, that was really cool. And the tech itself, even the early stuff in Tetris, I think is cool. In a lot of my videos, the early stuff not that interesting, but seeing Jonas Neubauer get the first max out on video is really cool. And then people going to 1.1 and 1.2, and then all the different methods. It's awesome. Like Tetris seriously had everything that I could ask for from a history perspective.
nice. What about would you say that's also your favorite narrative in one of your videos? Because for me, I would like the 32 out of 32 SM64 video they made a while back. That I thought was just such a cool like story. So what about what do you think your favorite narrative is?
Yeah, I mean, probably either 32 out of 32 or the Matt Turk video is another one where it's a whole community going up against this one guy's times. I think the Abney video is also kind of cool, where it's this guy who's had the record forever trying to hang on to his record after all these new strats were developed, and all of a sudden people can catch up to him because there's all this time save. I think that was pretty cool too, but probably not on the same level as Matt Turk or 32 out of 32.
Makes sense. What about favorite community to work with in terms of how helpful they were? I'm guessing Star Wars, but could be something else.
Well, I'm hesitant to like pick a favorite because I don't want to make other communities feel bad.
That makes
So
sense
I
too.
feel like I should probably like since you mentioned Star Wars, obviously they were great to work with because they were very excited to see the video and wanted me to make the video, which is always nice. There's some communities that are definitely like don't really care that I'm making the video or wish that someone in the community was making the video and not me. But Lego Star Wars, they were very excited to see me making it and wanted to help me make it as good as possible. So whenever that happens, it's pretty cool.
What's like a underrated content creator or streamer that you enjoy watching? Could be Punch Out related or other speedrun historians.
Funny for Punch Out related, nobody's really speedrunning the game right now. It's been dead for about
Mm,
6 months, so I don't have much there. Does it have to be so speedrun content creator? I would say, I guess Cosmic, although he's not really underrated anymore. There's honestly, I don't watch that much speedrun content in my free time just because that's my work. So I'm
makes
really
sense.
heavily invested in that. And my free time, I used to do a lot of speedrunning, but the last like 6 months or so, I've kind of been moving away from that a little and trying to diversify a bit. But Cosmic's videos are one of the only speedrunning YouTubers that I still watch like pretty much everything he makes because it's on games that I enjoy and he has a a good editing style. But yeah, I mean, he even has like a 250,000 subscribers now, so he's gotten pretty big.
Yeah. What's one piece of advice? This is something I ask everyone who comes on. What's one piece of advice that you'd give aspiring speedrunners or speedrun content creators?
For content creators in general, I would say it's all about the idea that you have. Even if you don't like go back and look at my first videos on YouTube, the first record history videos, and they're not good. They're very rough around the edges, but people loved them at the time because it was such a good idea. So, if you want success on YouTube, you need to find something that other people aren't doing and do it. And if you have a good idea, even if you're not great at making them at the start, people will latch onto it and find it interesting, and you will blow up to an extent. You might not get massive, but you'll get an audience. And then as you get an audience and keep making the videos, then you'll get better at it. So I think that's my advice is don't worry that much about production quality or perfect editing and instead focus on making a really good idea.
Nice. I think that's very good advice. Definitely. And then, yeah, my last question, I guess, just in a general sense, what's next for Summoning Salt? In terms of videos, you mentioned like you couldn't go to events. Any events in the future planning on going to, or just really what's next in general?
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I mean, on the YouTube front, it's just going to be more of the same in the sense I'm going to keep making speedrun history videos and some kind of adjacent topics that aren't exactly speedrun history but related enough. And I want to keep incorporating interviews into my videos, and I want to keep doing it as long as I possibly can and keep making cool merch and keep promoting the speedrunning community at large. And for my personal speedrunning aspirations, I don't know. I've been doing it like 12 years now. I think I'm ready to again, I'm not saying I'm like retiring from all speedrunning, but I'm shifting away from it a little bit, I think. And I don't know exactly what the future holds there, but I'm proud of the work I have done, and I want to keep going with YouTube and keep making videos that people want to watch.
All right, awesome. Well, thanks again for joining. Of course, I'll have as always socials for both Summoning Salt and myself in the description. Um, Make sure I'm sure everyone watching this has seen Summoning Salt's videos before, but if for whatever reason you haven't, make sure to check them out. And yeah, I just thanks again so much for joining. It's been a pleasure, and I'm really appreciative of how easy you were to work with for sure. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah,
sorry it took a year to
I
finally set
mean,
this up, but we got there.
yeah, no, it's fine. I honestly like I most of that year I wasn't even doing the episodes, so it didn't really feel like
Yeah.
it took that long in reality. So
I have a question for you, if you don't mind me
yeah,
asking.
yep.
Who's your dream guest to have on Speed Talk? Does it have to be you're only doing speedrunners on here, or if you could get like
I mean,
Moist Critical or someone like that? Like who's your dream guest for here?
I've only ever considered having speedrunners on, so like honestly, like you and Smallant were two of them. So I don't even know where to go from there. Like when I think big level speedrunners, you two are definitely two of like the biggest names I could think of. And I also just have always like I've watched been watching your videos for quite some time, and then Smallant I watched ever since the beginning of Odyssey. So those are definitely two of the biggest. I'm having Lil Curbs on the next one. Um, who is
That's cool.
yeah, that's one that I'm excited for because he's very big in Mario Maker and Odyssey, which are like the two communities I've followed. So yeah, it's been definitely been going great. I don't know, I really don't even know like who I would pick from the people I haven't had on yet. So
Gotta get like Ludwig or Moist Critical, one of those guys who
yeah,
they're
that would be
not
cool.
really a speedrunner, but they've done a lot of like speedrun content. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. If that happened, I might have to just branch out into being a interviewer in general, like outside of speedrunning as well, because that would really open the gates. Um,
Yeah,
but
be
yeah,
cool.
we'll see what the future holds. And yeah, thanks again for joining. And yeah, see you guys in the next one.
See ya.